Freaking beat 'em ups, dude. I haven't heard from beat 'em ups in like forever though. Sheesh. I have not seen this channel in a hot minute. Ugh, my nose. Sound like I'm freaking sick and everything.
Everything is too expensive, and I feel like that goes for life right now, but even more so with Nintendo, who are making decisions that I can't justify. I can't defend.
Oh, was this during the Nintendo, what was it? Nintendo was having a freaking showcase? I saw it. I did see the Nintendo showcase. I thought it was like, damn, man, they're sure wanting money real badly.
And I honestly can't rationally understand. And it's difficult because at the end of the day, I'm a Nintendo advocate on this channel. You know, I'm passionate about Nintendo. I grew up with Nintendo, and all of that nostalgia and all of that love and all the appreciation for the game.
I grew up on the Sega Genesis, but I ain't that passionate about it. I grew up on PlayStation, but I ain't that passionate about it, you know? Mario Galaxy games being released for 40 bucks each.
Games themselves don't just go
Paid
away
DLC.
overnight because
Yeah, I heard about that. There's like a lot of paid DLC or so. You want to know something? One of the paid DLCs was the Donkey Kong Bonanza, but it's not even like an actual DLC. It almost looks like it was part of the game, but they took it out of the game and they're selling it to you back as DLC because it's just an island with all the iconic characters, and you just do challenges on the island, and that's it. That's all you do. It's just they give you an island. You get to see Diddy Kong and like all the other iconic characters, and then you just do challenges for the villain, and that's it. That's all you basically do. That's all they fucking showed in the showcase.
Amiibos are $50 now. Like, it's a lot more multifaceted than that for me. But when something doesn't sit right with me and a lot of you, I talk about it. And there's a lot of things. But shockingly, there's a lot of things from that direct specifically. But I'm gonna start with the Mario Galaxy situation. Because while watching the direct...
Holy they're charging $70 for this? God damn, dude. Okay, because I don't think they showed the pricing. Yeah, I don't think they showed the pricing for any of these games. I think during the showcase, I might have probably forgot or something, but
I had no idea they were going to charge $70 for the double pack of... I'm gonna say that again because really, out of everything I'm talking
they never showed the
about
prices.
today, this
Okay,
has to be the worst one.
You're lucky we at Nintendo didn't slice that up into parts. Hey man, I don't really care personally, you know. Hey man,
$70. I might remind you, I might reprise you. That word, I might remind you that new games now, we have like this price hike from 60 up to 70, right? These like Donkey Kong DK Bonanza, this awesome game that we all justified being 70 because it's incredible. It's a brand new experience, right? That's the price of a brand new game now. It's also apparently the price of 2 old games being straight ported over with nothing being done to them. And don't tell me there's a couple extra pages in a book somewhere because I don't care. This is bananas.
That's
and to make
crazy.
it even worse, you can buy these games individually if you're like, oh, 70. Well, I only really want to play.
So wait, so they're just porting it over. There's no HD, so it's not an HD remake. They're not adding like more enhanced controls. They're not doing anything. They're just kind of like just bringing it over. That's it. Also, have you seen that they're reviving the Virtual Boy? If I can recall and heard, it's their worst product made because of the eye problem report. What the fuck? Are you serious? The same game from the Wii? What the hell?
Galaxy 2. Well, that's 40. Because priced individually, they're 40.
What?
So $80 for this is on. Look, I'm the first one to try and find loopholes, justifications, defenses, and trying to...
No,
YouTube
stop.
Frogs Help US.
Hey, Hazu. No, stop it, beat 'em ups. You need to stop making loopholes and all this other shit for this company. You need to stop. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. You gotta stop. Just stop. You know exactly what they're doing. Don't try to find like a loophole or justify, you know, all of this other stuff. No. No, just stop it. That's like the biggest copium I've like ever heard in my entire life when it comes to anyone who's obsessed with Nintendo products or Nintendo in general.
Trying to rationally find a reason. There's no reason. I don't understand the reason. I cannot understand the reason. This is US, which means in Australia, this double pack is like $90, almost $100 for a re-release. Because yes, Mario Galaxy has already been released once, and this is where it gets even more.
Wait, it was? Wait, really? Oh, okay then.
Ludicrous with the prices, because this is let me show you something. So you might remember 5 years ago, Mario 3D All-Stars released for $60. It was a triple pack that contained Galaxy. It was a limited release for the 35th anniversary, which means Nintendo pulled.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. I completely forgot about that.
It from the shelves, so you couldn't buy it anymore. 3 games, $60. So you would think $20 a game, making Galaxy a $20 re-release at the time, you know, logically. And that made sense that that game was $20, right? Especially when you look at the fact that in 2011, Nintendo released a Nintendo Selects version of the game, which is a, you know, player's choice type situation. And that was a $20 re-release of the game back like a year after the game released. So even back on the Wii, when this game came out, Nintendo deemed
Mario
it
Galaxy
worth $20,
Nintendo
which
Skyrim.
even accounting for inflation today is $28. So why in the piss is now all of a sudden Mario Galaxy more expensive than it's been since 2011?
Because of money. You guys literally buy this shit up anyways. You guys are the problem at the end of the day. You guys will fucking buy anything that Nintendo fucking throws at you. Come on, man. It's like, come on. What are we doing here? Come on, man. Let's be realistic here, okay? When it comes to freaking Nintendo fanboys, we all know exactly what Nintendo fanboys are at the end of the day. God, we saw a video who got offended or so they basically almost got offended or so because of, what was it? I think it was because of Scarlet and Violet, I think, or so. That wasn't really great.
There's nothing new added to it. This isn't like a Switch 2 version of the game. They have said, I think after the price was revealed, that the game will support 4K. But like, yeah, it should. Because you're re-releasing it in an era where your console does 4K.
I'm gonna be honest with you. 4K is overrated. 1440p is the best way to play games. This 4K shit, it's kind of like, I don't really care personally.
We already bought the console. We bought the console capable of 4K. Are you now charging us for the 4K?
Yes.
Is that what's happening? Because
yes.
That's all I can assume here.
Yes.
Is that you've released a console that can do 4K if you pay for it in the games that come out.
Even then, can't you just play Mario Galaxy like with an emulator and probably enhanced with like mods or so? Can't you just do that or so that enhances the visual prowl that'll give you like 4K for free? I think you could do that, right? At this point, Nintendo's gonna revive their playing cards back and sell them at 150 probably.
Understand what I'm trying to say? I don't want to repeat myself like Nintendo keeps doing with this game, but I feel like that point really needs to hit home.
Right now.
We already paid $500 for a console that can do 4K. Why is there a luxury price tag on these games that have 4K?
Because you guys are willing to buy anything that Nintendo throws at you guys. I'll repeat it and say it again until you understand, you know?
Especially with Mario Galaxy. We move into the new amiibos. I was quite excited for this too. I mean, I sang the praises here of this being like a Lego Dimensions type battle for Atlas, switching carts and races. I thought this was really neat. Give me a second here, because off to the side, I know it's gonna be hard to see. I have a lot of amiibo here. Now, I just grabbed a few random ones, but I remember back in the day lining up at Target, and I know I'm gonna get a little nostalgic on you here, but going out and picking up these amiibos, they were like $15. 15 bucks for a little detailed figure of an amiibo. Sometimes you got a misprint, sometimes they weren't that detailed, but that just made them all the more rare. But they were like 15 bucks. When do we get to the point where they slowly crept up to 50? And
Because you guys let it slide, that's why.
I know that these amiibos, they have this like intricate extra system that's going into it with a connector piece. But when we're up to $50 for what is essentially, when you look at it, a little figure of Kirby on a star, we're at $50 for something that the equivalent
50 bucks, bro. 50 schmackaroons for this shit.
of did cost $15 just, you know, 8 years ago. I don't know how we got there. I don't know how we got there so quickly and it became so acceptable, because $50, I need to remind you. I don't know why I feel the need to remind you. $50 is just a few years ago what we were paying for full brand new video games, right? And to even get the use out of these figures, to even get what they're designed for, you also have to buy the game, which you know is going to be $70. So now you buy one of these figures and you're at 100.
Yeah, the Switch 2 was a successful thing. You guys bought it. You guys made Nintendo be like, oh, these dumbasses are willing to pay more money for this shit. Oh, okay, sure. We'll just give them this shit. We'll just bring back some older games too and charge them double, no, triple the price for them to pay. You know, they'll pay anything, you know.
$20, but the whole point is to switch them, and you can't switch them unless you have two, so you're up to $170 now for Kirby Air Riders. Hope you really like Sakurai. I mean, I do, but $170? Not sure. And what this is doing is this and the thing we just talked about and the more that we're going to get to, it is quite literally pricing people out of being able to enjoy these experiences, which is why people are so upset, because they can't afford it. They're getting priced out. So like when...
Now they're realizing the problem or so of Nintendo, when literally everyone else in the gaming community was calling out Nintendo, but then you had some morons or so trying to defend Nintendo. I've seen my comment section when it comes to Nintendo related shit. I get a bunch of dumbass people commenting or so about it.
People are upset in my videos and in my comment section saying, oh yeah, looks fun, wish I could afford it. I honestly do feel for you, because I get it. Like, people are getting priced out of this stuff. And with the amiibos, it's hard, it's actual hardware, it's actual physical media. And there is this element that we are dealing with, and that's the tariff side of things. That is legitimately an issue.
We and Nintendo spent a lot of time crafting these figures and making them the best quality out there. I did none of that.
Hard to know how it's affecting or how much it's affecting, because companies aren't really being open with how tariffs are hitting them, other than just they are. So I think we could expect these to be maybe 40.
It's not fucking hitting them. They're just using it as a fucking blanket or so. 9 times out of 10, most of them are just using it as a blanket to justify the overly insane pricing of their shit. Because, you know, we all know for a fact Nintendo will slobber up anything that Nintendo throws at them.
At best in any other given circumstance.
It's always the tariff thing they always bring back every single time.
Video game. And it's still a lot.
And there was a video that we saw, it was like a while back or so, that was explaining that tariffs is not the main problem, why this is causing this.
Money. There's also the new Samus and her bike, which is priced at $40. And then some more amiibos that are priced at $30 each. The Galaxy amiibos are priced at $40 each. So the day of these $15 amiibos are definitely just gone. And the new price is way closer to $40, which again, it's just they don't amiibo.
You can buy a Silk Song game with that price, you know, and have a more better enjoyment.
Aren't utilized well enough for them to be worth that price. Yeah, they're cool little figures, but for $40, $50, you could go to an anime store or a figure store and you could buy like a full like Todoroki. Moving on again to something else in this direct, the Virtual Boy. that we got so excited for.
Wait, what the fuck? It's an actual physical hardware thing? What the hell? I thought they were just importing the games. I didn't know they were importing the actual thing itself.
Well, some of us. I think some of you just wondered why. I was excited for $100 for this Virtual Boy.
Jesus.
$100. I don't know who this...
Hey, puppy.
That's a tough one. On one hand, with this one, I mean, it is a full console re-release, really. I mean, no, it's not. No, it's not. I was gonna try and justify it and be like, well,
Dude, you need to stop justifying this. You need to stop. Just stop. Honestly, you just need to stop fucking justifying this.
Virtual Boy back in the day was like $200, which for inflation is $400 now. Yeah, but it's just a shell, isn't it? Because the actual hardware, the actual part that makes this work is the Switch 2 we already have. That's the guts that you're sliding into it. This is just a hard shell carry case. This is a glorified protective cover. And
no, it's just a 3D printing thing. That's it.
by the way, I'm pretty sure if you want to play these 14, count them, 14 Virtual Boy games, because that's all the library ever had, you have to buy this because it's 3D and you got to stick your eyes up to it. I don't know how much the cardboard Labo version is. Cardboard Labo, $25 for the cardboard model. For the cardboard, you know what I love? That it says cardboard model. $25. And can we just cut out the model part and just read $25 for cardboard? I'm lost for words here a little bit. I gotta take a second. On the Switch Online service, which you already have to pay for the Switch Online service to access the 14 games, you can't play those 14 games unless you spend a minimum of another $25 for some cardboard or $100 for some plastic. It's nostalgic, and I do admit it's very cool. And for the collector in me side of things, like obviously I feel like this is something that's going to go up in value. So if you look at it that way, if you
hear that? He's only thinking about it for the investment. That's it.
pay the 100, you'll probably make your money back if you decide you want to turn around and sell it later. These things are always kind of hard to get and limited. So it's just
that's crazy, dude. That's crazy that he's like saying about the, like, yeah, you know, you could turn a profit with this thing, you know, you could sell it for like 200, you know. He's a scalper. No, he's not a scalper.
It's just another nostalgic price gouge, I feel like, at the end of the day. I'm not as upset about this one because there is a level of cool factor where it's like, it's just kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie, it's just kind of cool, but it is a lot. You're asking people for a lot. And then we move into this. All of the Switch 2 Edition game DLC that keeps happening. Now, there's a lot of conversation about all of these individual DLCs. I've taken a look at pretty much all of them except Kirby, which I've been playing and I can tell you about today. It's a real hit or miss situation. So to begin with, at launch, we had the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom upgrades, which were $10 each, which at the time offered a mobile app integration, which I've tried using, and some of the features are cool, like transferring items and some voice notes, but for the most part, it's definitely not necessary. So the other element to this is just getting the 4K enhancements in the Switch 2 edition, which at this point, I've really come to realize what I said earlier. We paid more money to get an improved console that can do 4K. We put up with games in 560p and barely 30 frames for 8 years, and we finally were allowed the privilege of spending $5,000 to upgrade our system just to turn around and be told that if you actually want an upgraded system for these older games, you need to pay more money. It's a tough pill to swallow, and it was for Zelda for a lot of people. And moving forward, we had games like Mario Jamboree getting DLC, which I made a whole video about that. The DLC was just fine. It was very minuscule and lacked all online features, and at the end of the day, it's kind of a throwaway extra content.
Damn, that's crazy to hear that.
content. And on launch, that $20 Switch 2 Edition DLC didn't even bump the base game's visuals up to 4K. That was actually something they patch fixed recently because people complained. Kirby Star-Crossed World.
Wow, when people start complaining, they start fixing the problem. Wow. Damn, what happened? What happened, Nintendo fanboys? Well, I thought you guys love your company or so. Why are you guys complaining, you know?
I played a bit of recently. I did not really need to dive back into that game and do more levels. And I gotta be honest, the whole ice theme of it all, it was really just fluff. It was not, it was more levels.
Damn.
It was really just more of the same. But it gets somehow worse when Nintendo and Pokemon revealed DLC for a game that hasn't even been released yet, which...
That's the craziest thing. When I heard about this, I was like, wait a minute, they're making DLC already for a game that has not even, like, it's not even out yet. The game isn't even out yet, and they've already made the DLC for it. It just feels like that DLC was actually part of the game, but it feels like they just took it out of the game and then are selling it to you as DLC.
Which really is just the cherry on top of the turd salad, you know? I don't know what's worse about this. The fact that it is what I said that it is, the fact that all they showed was a couple Mega Evolutions for Raichu, and that's the DLC, I guess. I'm not sure what's supposed to be in this expansion.
Wait, are they gonna charge people for Mega Evolutions? For like Mega Evolution Pokemons? No fucking shot that they're gonna start charging that. Where you can have like two different like Pikachus or two different Raichus or two different insert Pokemon here, you know?
Because that's all they showed in the trailer. And I mean, Mega Evolutions, yeah, that's the whole point of this game. All you've been showing for weeks and months now is new Mega Evolutions for Dragonite, Mega Evolutions of Victory Bell that looks like it's BDSM choking itself out. Like, I don't know why Raichu costs more money. I'm gonna take on a little bit of a journey. I remember back, I think it was Gears of War Judgment. That game released a physical disc with DLC on the disc that was locked out, that you couldn't access for a couple months until after its release, where you could buy the DLC and unlock the content on the disc. And it was at that point, as a younger gamer, where I started to realize what companies were doing with DLC. They were taking portions of the game that were planned for the game, that were already in the game, that they plotted out from the start to be something that they can charge you more for later to get more money in the microtransactional form. And as the years went on, I didn't forget about that. I know that's what happens. I know that even this new Donkey Kong DLC that we're going to get to was definitely planned during launch. Like, the game only came out a couple months ago. There's no way they took...
Yeah, that's the craziest thing about it, that they already there's already DLC being announced already immediately for this game. This is it. This is the DLC right here. This is it right here. Just this fucking island. That's it. That's all you get. It's just this island, and then you do like some kind of like mini game or something for like with the villain, and then that's basically what they showed. And like then they can say that you can get statues to decorate, and that's it, you know?
And developed that whole concept around in a month or two. But at least in that case, I can suspend my disbelief a little, because I can play the game, I can finish it, I can see that I got my money's worth, and then there's more DLC, and I can decide whether or not I want to pick it up and support the practice that they've employed. But when the game's not even out yet, and you're telling me that there's DLC...
No, because you want to know something? If they're doing the same thing for this, they did the same thing for Donkey Kong, meaning that this DLC was actually part of the main game, but they took it out of the main game and are selling it back to you as DLC, as fresh new content, quotation marks, fresh.
When the game's $70, and now all of a sudden I already know before I even have the game that I won't have all the content unless I spend $90 at some point. You add that into the mix of everything else that we're getting slammed with. It's like, come on. Even just optically, Nintendo, this was a terrible idea. Just an awful idea. Especially for so many reasons, but in a direct where we're all kind of looking to see something new from you, and the new thing we got was this. So here's my question now, as I'm taking stock of this whole situation. When it comes to this DLC that Nintendo are doing, and the Switch 2 edition games specifically, how much should we be paying for this? Because I am realizing now, as I've said, that we paid for a 4K console. I don't think we should ever have had to have paid $10 to play Breath of the Wild and
But you guys did. You guys paid for it. Now you're reaping what you sow of the consequences of what you guys have done, you know? That's your guys' shit over there. You guys did that shit. You guys can resolve that shit on your own. We tried to warn you guys. We warned you guys that this was going to happen, but no, Nintendo Fanboy said no, you're wrong. You're incorrect, Nyaru, you're incorrect, you know? I love my, $20 billion company, you know? I mean, like, okay, all right, do whatever you want. Do whatever the fuck you want at the end of the day.
8-year-old game in that 4K. So if Nintendo is saying games like Mario Wonder are a $20 upgrade because you get 4K and you get this extra content, Nintendo. We're not paying for 4K. You know, up until now, a lot of people like myself have been wondering why one of the newest games for Nintendo, Mario Wonder, hasn't been 4K. When Nintendo did go and give 4K support to like New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe that was on the Switch, it's because they knew they could charge for it. There are a lot of games day one that had 4K improvements for free, like Scarlet and Violet, because God forbid you charge for that. You can charge us to fix the broke. But there were a lot of games that didn't get 4K enhancements for free. And I guess at this point, it's because you can assume Nintendo have plans to charge you for those ones. Why though? Why those ones and not the other ones that were free? Because Mario Wonder is a big release and because people want to play it in 4K, so they can charge for that. But again, and I keep stressing it, you're charging us for something that your console was supposed to do. And if you don't buy it, guess what? You can't play the game in 4K on your new 4K console. So you're screwed. These frustrations aren't just because of what they are in themselves. You know, things I talked about, like Mario Galaxy being more expensive than ever, amiibos being more expensive than ever, it's all on top of other factors, like the fact that Mario Kart World was an $80 game for some reason, and Nintendo are doing variable pricing now.
You guys bought it. You guys bought it. Doesn't even matter. You guys bought it. We told you. We fucking told you. But hey, you know what? If you guys don't want to listen to the gaming community, at least the rest of the gaming community, you guys think you can do, you guys think you're happy with your little plastic box over there, handheld plastic box over there, thinking that they're justified for it? Here's a pile of shit. Enjoy eating it, you know?
Now, games in themselves have all just gone up $10, if not $20 in price. So when you're adding all these extra fees and prices on re-releases and amiibos and DLC, it's all just adding on top of already more expensive games. On top of all of that, outside—
You wanna know something? I'd rather buy me a Switch OLED, but not from the store. From a third marketplace instead, you know? The used store marketplace from other people selling it, you know? And I could probably get a better deal on a Switch OLED than Nintendo ever offering me a deal on a Nintendo Switch 2.
The Switch 2, Nintendo raised their prices on everything else, from the original Switch to the accessories, and even like the Alamo went up.
Like I'll even pay, there's literally the last time I checked, there was a Switch OLED there's a couple different ones, but there was one specific one that stand out to me. That was being sold for 300 donos, which is the Nintendo Switch OLED with the original, plus 2 extra Joy-Cons, plus the controller, the Switch Pro controller, and I think like 4 or 5 games, and I think it comes with like a carrying case and a protector or so for the Switch OLED for like 300. And I'm like, that's not bad, to be honest.
$10. All of this is most likely due to tariffs and the hardware costing more to manufacture, which makes sense for something new like a Llamo. I don't really understand how the original Switch hasn't come down in price in the last decade, when all of the hardware and pieces that go into making it you would think would get more affordable, but that is beside the point. I feel like it's crazy that Nintendo's not reading the room, that we're currently in an economical crisis.
You think they're gonna read the room? You think so? Man, dude, you're crazy. Dude, honestly, like don't get me wrong. I love beat 'em ups and everything like that, but you know, let's be honest here. Let's be a little bit logical here in this situation. And so, why do you think they're doing it, huh? Why, huh? There's a room? I didn't think there was even a room with Nintendo's fat ass in there, to be honest.
And they're just price gouging digital releases like Galaxy on top of it all. It's just not, it's really not what we need right now. Even just the wording of we're experimenting with variable pricing is just so open-ended and confusing. It's tough right now because
instead of $80, right? Because they're pricing variables, right? Instead of 80, 90. Instead of 90, 100.
There is so much coming from Nintendo that we want. And I think that's the issue, because if you look at just the video game prices themselves and not everything else we talked about, $70 games and even $80 games, believe it or not, are actually becoming the competitive price point in the market. If you look at PlayStation and you look at Xbox, who did just reverse the decision to go to 80 back to 70, but
wait, what? Xbox U-turns on the Outer Worlds 2 pricing from 80? Reverting it to 70 and reimbursing pre-order customers? What the fuck? Really? They did that? Hey, Tony. I did not hear about this, actually. That's crazy to hear that. I was not expecting that. To be honest, the biggest gamer move that you can do out of like the out of the big three AAA big studios, right? The, you know, as in like Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. If one of them literally, instead of increasing their prices, they reduce their prices, that would be the most biggest gamer move, because you want to know why? Because that means they'll flock over to buy your plastic box and your games.
that price range, it is competitive in the current marketplace. The issue is Xbox and PlayStation don't make games. You know, we have to spend $70 on a PlayStation 5 game once a quarter. So for PlayStation fans or people even looking at that ecosystem, it's easier to justify buying something, especially when it's like Kojima has made this AAA blockbuster, visually impressive movie video game, and it's the only one we're gonna have to buy for our PlayStation for months. $70, I'll give it a shot. But Nintendo right now are on fire with their releases. There are games coming out every couple of weeks. There's new hardware coming out all the time, from a Virtual Boy to a new console. So when all of it is $70, $80 and all of it has $20 DLC and all of it has amiibos that tie into it, and
yeah, but I have physical games. So, you know, I bought physical used games because I buy used games instead of buying brand new games. And I have a collection on my shelf or so whenever I want to play PlayStation 4 games, you know? And I have some digital games, but not a whole lot though, because most of them is just physical.
All of it is all of it. It's too much and we're overwhelmed.
Never bought a PS5, but there are people selling their PS5s for almost like more than half of the price. So I can literally go pick up a PS5 for literally only for like 200. That's it. 200. I can literally go buy me a PS5 for 200. Maybe less.
It's like a YouTuber who releases 5 videos a day and expects you to watch all of them. You know, I don't have the time, I don't have the money. And for people who have FOMO or don't want to miss out on their favorite franchises, it makes sense that they're frustrated. And then there's also the whole game key card issue.
Sounds like a skill issue if you are literally that's like a mental illness right there, if you don't want to miss the quote unquote FOMO on your favorite game or something. Like, you can look at other games. There are other games to play at the end of the day. it's not just only Nintendo. Yeah, I play hero shooters on PS5, but PS5 they don't accept here is local in stores anymore. I still buy physical and used PS2, PS3, PS4, and Vita games till this day. I actually found a local shop or so that sells physical copies of older games from all the way from like, what is it, the N64 and the Atari.
Which makes buying these games feel even worse at $70 or $80 with all this digital DLC, because we're already not happy that we're not owning the game on a cartridge, that we don't have the game physically and that everything is digital. And you're adding to that we're having to pay more than ever for these digital games.
Because you bought it. Because you guys fucking bought it. I will say it, and I will repeat it, and I will sound like a broken record, but I will fucking say it every fucking time. Because you guys bought it. You guys did not even fight against it. The only people who fought against it were literally people outside of the Nintendo ecosystem that were literally straight up normal gamers that played video games on everything. We told you guys to fight against this, but you guys didn't. You guys made the console be the best-selling console in the world. You made Mario Kart World be one of the best-selling games of this year when it came out. Even though we told you the digital shit, but a lot of you people in my comments sections were telling me, no, that's not what it is, Nyaru. It's not a digital thing. It's not digital. No, it's not, Nyaru. You're wrong. You're incorrect. Hey, man. It is what it is. I have a friend who's poor but buys Nintendo stuff. Well, eventually they're gonna have to sell those stuff, you know, to make money. Because they're poor. I'm poor, but I always know how to budget my money correctly.
It just really, there's so many tough pills for consumers to have to swallow. While I understand Nintendo make quality content, they really do. Like, for the most
quotation marks, quality content.
part, everything they make, DragX Drive aside, Nintendo makes really quality content. But then there's also Stardew Valley, which added mouse controls and Switch 2 upgrade support, and it's a free release. It's free. One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 was also in that direct. That's another game that's offering a free Switch 2 upgrade. High on Life just released a free Switch 2 upgrade with better resolutions and frame rates on the Switch 2. No Man's Sky did the same thing near launch. Why is it that all of these third-party and indie games and indie teams are able to offer better resolutions, better frame rates, better features, and more Switch 2 inclusion for free, but when Nintendo does it, it's 20 bucks? Oh, I know why. I could take a guess. I could take a little greedy guess. I know times are changing. I know that companies, end of the day, just want money. But Nintendo has always been the more affordable of the three companies between Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. And that's kind of why a lot of people liked Nintendo. And also, Nintendo, through the Wii U, they lost a lot of trust in their fan base, which...
Yeah, but you want to know something? This was during a different person during those eras, you know, after they're learning, after the failure of the Wii U or so, they got humbled really quickly, you know. But then, like, you know, ever since, you know, the CEO passed away and you had a new CEO, well, you know, look what's been happening so far, you know.
They really built back with the Switch with some great business practices, some fantastic video games, and affordable gaming. So to build back that trust and that love and that passion from a community, and then immediately turn around and charge not only more than ever, but more...
Didn't you guys tell me that Doug Bowser was part of EA or something like that? You guys told me that, right? Am I miscorrecting or so? I don't know if it was Doug Bowser or someone else, but was Doug Bowser part of the EA squad or so before he moved over to later on in the future up to now? Yes. That explains so much. That actually literally explains so much or so with all the pricing, the deals, the paid DLC, this and that, the expensive console, the increased prices on accessories for Nintendo Switch, and and the amiibo increases and stuff like that. So I see.
more than what other
That
companies
explains
are
everything.
charging right now. It's whiplash. Ultimately, at the end of it all, you've heard it before, but vote with your wallet. If you can't afford it or you think it's too expensive, don't buy it. Complaining about it online is a valid response, and it shifts the viewpoint on companies optically into the position where they might want to reverse their decision, like Xbox taking their decision to go up to
You're crazy if you think a person from EA is gonna reverse the pricing on them. You're crazy if you think it's gonna take a lot of pushback from the Nintendo fan base to actually get that reversed. Like, you need to have everybody.
80 back to 70. They did it because people complained. I don't know if Nintendo will ever budge, so I don't know if there's a point advocating for any kind of boycott. Just be responsible with your money and don't buy things you can't afford. Hopefully that's...
Or just don't buy it at all and just go buy Silk Song instead. Just go buy Silk Song. It's 10 times more better. Just step away from the Nintendo, you know? Yeah, they'll reverse it after quadruple down, yeah. What if, hear me out, we don't buy outrageously expensive games until Nintendo brings the prices down? Yeah, of course. That's the craziest thing about it, you know? Maybe, here. Knock, knock. Nintendo fanboys, just don't buy it. You know, that's it. Anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. When I saw that Nintendo Direct or so, I was just like, what the fuck is happening here? Too late for me? You can start right now. It's never too late. Start right now. Don't even buy the next stuff, you know? I'm telling you, man, you would probably have a lot more fun with a lot more indie games on Steam than you would do compared to, you know, compared to whatever game you would ever want to pick up from the Nintendo store. So yeah, but anyways, that's the end of the video. And let's not beat around the bush and the copium and all this other stuff. Don't try to be like, don't try to justify their actions, okay? It's a fucking $1 billion company, okay? All right, let's be honest here, all right? As much as I like beat 'em ups, there's some things it's like you can't really justify it. You cannot. Stop trying to sidetrack a little bit of here and there, you know, on the situation itself, you know? Let's be straight up honest here. Let's think about the consumers and be the reason why. Why would they do this? What would be the reason why would they increase the pricing? Tariffs? That's not a reason why. But yeah, that's just an excuse, a blanket or so, to raise the prices to an absurd amount of price and then shift the blame over towards tariffs being the issue. But you know, hey, like I said, that's just me anyways. Nintendo's going through hard times because of Trump. Through hard times, you mean? But I'll buy the new Hollow Knight on Switch too. It is what it is. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And yeah. I told you. I told the Nintendo fanboys. I told those people in the comment section did not listen to me. They did not. And well, I hope you enjoyed paying 40 or 30 or 50 bucks or so for an amiibo. So hey man, that ain't none of my problems. I ain't buying that shit. So anyways, that's the end of the video. And yeah, I'm just gonna go enjoy playing some PC games. And peace.